So as it is, I'm going to be attaching Ilebaye's win car in every video as long as she's there, or it's about the BBNaija All Stars. Reasons being that, it is what it is. Now, of course, guys, you're welcome back to the channel. In this particular video, it's going to be all about the first interviews for the top 6, the finalists of the BBNaija All Stars season. Now, of course, I'm going to do it in such a batch that I might do 2 per video or 3 people per video, depends on how I'm feeling, and like it's going to be the first 2 were evicted, or the first 3 were evicted, and then the last. That's how it's going to be. So of course, stick around and get the full lowdown on all they said about probably their rivals, their fights, and all that. Now, of course, if you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell button to have a notification on every post I make. Share comments down below and also share this video so that more people can get to see. And of course, let's get right into it. Now, the first person we're going to be talking about is Khosi. Now, Ebuka welcomed him as Big Brother's younger brother, and a finalist is 2nd time in a row, which is quite an achievement. And then they asked him, like, how was the show for him? What was it for you? And he said, it was interesting, it was fun. His game plan was just to come into the show, get to the finals, and probably win the competition. And since he didn't win, it is what it is. And then he went on to add that when Ebuka asked him a question as to his friendship with CeeC, that initially when they came into the show, it was as though they were going to be friends, but then over time something changed. What was it all about? He said, like, for him and CeeC, it was from the point of he needed to get to know her and probably grow a friendship with her, because about 90% or more of the housemates who were in the show, he had become friends with them one way or the other. He had known them before the show, but for CeeC, he just only probably might have heard her name, but had no form of connection or contact with her. Ebuka then asked him about his friendship with Pere. What was it all about? Because they were close, they were like brothers, but then things started changing. He responded saying, like, of course, Pere is somebody he values, he respects and loves as a brother. But when they came into the show, things started changing. Each person had needed to play their game, and then it seems as though they were sabotaging each other somewhat. And then he was hearing a lot of things, but then he didn't want to believe and accept them, verbatim, until he left the show, that he could confirm what it really was. But aside that, he would always cherish Pere. He went on to talk about his relationship and whatever was going with him and Kim Oprah. He said Kim Oprah, when she came, he was so happy. She was someone he really cared about, because this was somebody who knew him so much more than every other housemate. He was happy that somebody like that would come. And then Kim Oprah was someone he had seen qualities he would want in a woman, and that that was just it about it. And however way it went, he really is okay with it. And then Ebuka asked him, what was his highlight. He spoke about having to win most of the cooking tasks, the parties, the pool parties, and everything. And from now on, it's going to be growing his brand, improving on it, entertaining more people, and seeing how life takes him to better places. Next was Pere, whom, Ebuka welcomed him for being the finalist for the 2nd time, and then asked him, like, what was the difference with your previous season, Shine Your Eye, and this one? He was like, well, this had more prospects to, gang up, connive against people and stuff, but then they saw the more emotional part of him, because he felt like he showed the other tough part of him in the previous season. And there are 2 sides or more sides to Pere than just the general and stuff, and that was what he needed to explore in this season. Generally for him, he would prefer Shine Your Eye season because it was less mentally tasking than this one. I'm like, okay, somebody felt the heat. And then he went on to talk about, after Ebuka asked him what was it between him and Ilebaye, and was he more of a gang up for her or something? And then Pere responded that the Ilebaye issue, first off, it is a game before whatever it was. that he started becoming close to her or tried to pull her close as a friend when he noticed that people were ganging up against her. That was when the father-daughter stuff started. But then it seems like she was not cooperating, and then things just went the way it was. But in the light of what it was a game, and everybody played to the best of their knowledge. And then Ebuka had to ask him, you had some women. First off, let us start with Uriel. What was it with Uriel? He said, it was just casual friendship. They had known each other before the show. It's like, with the music videos and acting, that was just what it was for him. And then they moved on to Mercy Eke. Then last week, everything became intense. What was that about? He said, well, he had known that she liked him even before the show. He had liked her before the show. And then it was time for them to explore. And whatever likeness they have, from his own part, it was genuine. And he wants to grow something with her. As for the issue and the likeness with Kim Oprah, he just felt that it was just what it was. There was nothing deep. He liked her, she liked him, but then it comes from the fact that they had known a little bit, and he needed to see if this was something they could grow. Generally, he said he's going to continue pushing his movie, which will be out in January, and that it was shot in the US and in Nigeria, and he's expecting to, blow it up from there and see how life takes him. I'm like, okay, daddy, it's all good. And so next was the third runner-up. Yes, that's Adekunle. Adekunle was welcomed by Ebuka, and he is the only person who came the third runner-up in his season and this season. So of course, Ebuka congratulated him for that, and then asked him what was different for him between this season and the previous season he was in. And he said, well, it was that he was more of an intelligent person there, intellectual rather, and that he wanted to explore, being around the ladies, and the ship was not intentional, but it came up unexpectedly and he couldn't deny it. Now, how did the ship start? He said that, was it the second or third week, he threw a joke in the lounge and it was only Venita who caught up with it. And he was like, oh, wow, I like intelligent ladies. And since she could catch it up, let's see what happened. He became the head of house and he was like, oh no, I'm not going to sleep alone this time. It will be with a lady. But then things changed and we saw how it ended with their last dinner, which didn't go well. And Ebuka asked him, why did that happen? And he was like, that day or the previous day, they had issues, or that Venita was mad at him, but then she had not said anything. She wanted to talk about it. She said she didn't want to talk yet. And then they had dinner and they could not settle it. He could even take off the braids because Venita was supposed to take it off, and then she left. But then also, he didn't like the fight he had with Pere, but when he came out, he saw that it was funny on internet. It is what it is. He had only one low week for him in the house, and he cannot remember, but it was either the energy or his consistent fight with Venita. Overall, he wants to get into presenting, and if he says it now, people will say he's coming for the job of Ebuka. After all, Ebuka is not here, he's not retiring soon, but at least when he wants to pass the baton, he could be a prospect. He wants to go into filmmaking as a producer. If acting comes in line, he would pursue it, but that's it for him. Now, of course, that's all I have for you. On the next video is going to be your top 3, and you're going to get the full lowdown. So make sure to subscribe and see you on the next video.